Hello, I think we're live now. Welcome to Miami Pod Monday Night Football halftime show. If you are listening to us live for the first time, this is part of a podcast. It is now it's live. Whatever. Anyway, so this is a halftime show. If you're listening to this from recording and not live, we'll have the post game after this, and there'll be a little gap. If you're listening to this live, later on, after the game, we'll have a post game as well as a hangout, because we're going to the stone age with hangouts because new fangled technology isn't working. I'm Oscar Hazel, joined by Ian Wharton, who you can follow at NFL Film Study and find his work at Bleacher Report, draftcentric.weebly.com. Kind of a good first half, at least in terms of like the offensive scheme. Is kind of like what we've been asking for a while, where it's like vertical game plan with running the ball, and we've seen like how it's been effective even without the deep ball necessarily connecting. It just the way in which it opens up defenses has been effective. What's kind of your big picture takeaway of the game so far?
I have to wonder, did Ben McAdoo switch teams for this game? Because I'm actually really impressed. Defensively, there's a lot of the same issues, but again, you're not going to really be able to hide those issues, especially against a well-coached team with a veteran quarterback and a star receiver. So, I mean, defensively, I'm not really going to take away too much from this. I mean, I expected the Giants to be able to move the ball pretty easily against Miami, and they have in the passing game. But offensively, I'm really impressed, actually. I think Taylor's done a nice job. There's been a couple personnel issues, I think, as far as who you're targeting. I don't love
So
Damian
Deion Sims is
Williams.
on the field, which is an issue.
Yeah. I mean, Deion Sims is really hitting the stage where, next training camp, he's got to nut up or probably sit the bench. And if he doesn't show any improvement in training camp, because I mean he's just such a massive liability now as a receiver. I thought we saw some improvement last year as far as consistency at the catch point, but small sample sizes can do that, where you make a couple nice plays and it kind of makes you think that he improved, but he's been really bad. The fumble was really bad. I mean, it's not like he's been someone that's consistent with the ball in his hands anyway. But overall, I mean, look, there's still positives. The Giants don't have a great defense, but I mean, Miami's shredded them, whether it be on the ground. Lamar Miller has been fantastic. He's making these guys look like just college kids again. Brandon Albert has looked really good, I thought, in the first half. Couple tough reps there for Dallas Thomas, Jason Fox. A couple sacks allowed there, but overall, man, I think the big takeaway I have is how good Tannehill has looked in this first half with tempo. Couple snaps there before the clock even drops below 20 on the play clock. He's moving through reads very quickly. Saw a couple times he moved the safety over, most notably on the wheel route, or actually it was just a go route by Williams that slightly overthrew him. I know some people thought Williams dropped it. I thought it was just a slight overthrow. But really, though, a lot of positives in this first half. I mean, this is a team that looks confident. The spacing is great. I mean, a lot of easier throws than what we've seen for most of the season. And first drive, you saw how Tannehill's extending a play, getting the ball out before Cameron even turned for his curl route in the middle of the field. That's all major positives that you really want to continue to see. Very happy with that first half for the most part for Miami's offense. I mean, you can't complain when you put up 17 on the board.
A little bit more like targeting. I like the routes are like hitting players in stride, which has been kind of an issue, and that opens up the offense as well, just kind of like having more flow to it instead of like being still then having to create. Drops are still an issue. We saw in that scramble play, Landry probably should have made that catch. Then there was a kind of like a tip ball that made throw behind Landry a bit tougher, but he went with one hand, where maybe if he went with two, that would have helped. I agree that was like a tick over throw in the Damian Williams throw. The Deion Sims one he should have kept. But I mean, if you've had a heart for football where you can reel off 4 or 5 opportunities of like drop balls, that's just unacceptable. And it's a real issue with this team. Like before the game, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have a game where there's no drops, but I think that's asking for a bit too much. And then you have like maybe 4 or 5 in a half. There's obviously something like inherently wrong. Maybe it's like even the way the ball's prepared. I know Tannehill's talked about kind of like they pretty much put his ball through like a washing machine and stuff. So maybe that's something to do with it. Maybe it's the way he throws it. Maybe it's the catching drills they're doing. Maybe it's just like trying to make. Maybe it's the emphasis on yards after the catch and they're like focusing on that. But there's something inherently like there's something wrong. And I mean, we've talked about it before. It's just like frustrating when you have that half of football, and like there's drives were killed by those plays as well. Shall we talk about defensively then? DeAndre Coleman played some snaps, which was nice. Fade is inactive, which isn't nice. Has anything else stood out to you? I thought Bryce had like kind of a rough start to the game, and then made that play late in the second quarter. That was pretty good. Has anything else kind of stood out to you?
Man, I'm really disappointed that today isn't playing. No, I mean not really. I mean,
even if he was active, he wasn't going to get a snap, was he? So
yeah, no, he wasn't. And I don't know. We really need an explanation on that.
Apparently, he probably doesn't practice hard enough, even though that he's been the best base defensive end in games the last 2 years.
Yeah, I've been kind of focusing a little bit more on Vernon tonight.
Okay.
He's been silent. I mean,
he's not playing a good left tackle.
No, he's not. I mean, so I think we mostly saw fool's gold, which we expected. I mean, you wouldn't just randomly see improvement from a player like 3/4 through the year. But it is interesting, though. Again, I think Miami wants him and needs him to play well. What were your? And actually, I'm going to kind of go back to before the game. What were your thoughts? Quick thoughts on Demontre Moore? That claim that Miami got.
I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out, and he hasn't really done much. So, I mean, to me, it's the same as like the Copel signing, where you get a little bit more leverage in free agency with both defensive ends that are hitting free agency being under the same agent. Like the more defensive end depth you can have, the more leverage tools you can have, the better. So that's kind of my take. It's probably more of a leverage thing than anything else. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I don't hate it. I'm pretty sure he's cheap. He's probably like under $1 million because he's on his rookie deal. Yeah, it's hard to complain about that. But I mean, he was a guy. I don't know. I was never a fan of his in college. It was kind of a weird release from the Giants. It's one of those things where it's like he obviously wasn't talented enough to deal with his shit. So that's something to consider. But I mean, like I said, he's a free look. You're really lacking those defensive ends on the roster. So I mean, I don't know. You can't complain too much, and at least you get 3 free games of him. At least pretty cheap games of him. Someone asked if it's going to be either Copples or Moore. They're kind of opposite players. Copples is more of a strong side defensive end, more of a run defender, whereas Morris is only a pass rusher. You don't want to play him on rundowns. He's no situational awareness, and strength at the point of attack is not very good. But he's a functional pass rusher. He wasn't finishing well, I don't think, from a standpoint of creating pressure and then finishing. So maybe that's something that you want to see him improve on.
Moore is out of contract as well next year. So.
Oh, he is? Okay, so this is literally just a 3 games test. Okay. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense.
I guess like the A&M thing, like Tannehill would know him and stuff like that. So maybe there's like some sort of connection there where it's like Tannehill or Zach Taylor can like vouch for him somewhat, being like in the same program as him coming up.
Yeah, maybe that was like a character thing where he vouched for him or something. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I really can't say I hate it. So
yeah, he's I think he's like literally like 3rd round pick, so he can't be that much money. Is there anything you want to see differently this second half?
Just play the young guys. I mean, I'm not really looking at anything as far as winning the game. Just keep playing the young guys. Let's put them in some situations that they may not be used to. I mean, again, I'm okay with losing a game. I'm not trying to lose this game, but if you lose the game, getting experience doing things that helps show what your players can do and learn more about your players, that's where you're really winning, even if you lose the game. Looks like we have an injury here to start the second half. Looks like it's McCain. Oh, it's Bobby McCain. Bobby McCain's down, and he looks like he's out. So hopefully he's all right. But yeah, that's one of the young players I was kind of talking about. So.
All right, well, we'll be back after the game to have our thoughts of the whole game. So thanks for listening to our halftime show, and we'll be back later, or if you're listening to this, record it later on the podcast. I'll put some music in or some shit. All right, goodbye.